I'll be chatting to Stingray author Bob Ayres about Project Orca.
We'll have another random episode from a random Gerry Anderson series.
We'll have your emails and comments. It's the Voice of the Podsterons.
And there'll be some news from our very own...
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson, Richard James and Chris Dale.
It's the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Can you believe it's taken 350 weeks for one of us to have something better to do?
Yes. Well, and of course it would be Jamie.
It would be Jamie, of course.
Gerry Anderson Podcast without an Anderson.
Yes, but with an Arrowsmith. Which is a bit
Ross.
further down the alphabet.
Are you excited?
I am.
You look a bit...
Deer in the headlights.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
Just relax, everything will be fine.
Just relax.
For those
okay.
who don't know, Ross is our camera and all-round technical chap. When we are normally sat around this table,
Yes.
he is normally sat on that sofa asleep.
So,
True.
who's looking after the cameras and lights and sound now?
Oh.
In true Gerry Anderson fashion,
Yes.
they are now automated.
Oh, well,
Love
that's
it.
all right. Then.
Nothing can go wrong.
And
Love
of
it.
course, you've hooked them up to a nuclear reactor.
Naturally.
Yes. Why
Now,
wouldn't you?
as you know, coming up we have an episode of the Randomiser whereby we sit down and watch a random episode of a random Gerry Anderson series. Looking forward to that, Ross?
Very much so, yeah.
We've got some news from our roving reporter, Jamie Anderson. Looking forward to that, Ross?
Absolutely.
And we'll be hearing from our podsterons at podcast@gerryanderson.com. Are you looking forward to that?
Yes. Shock horror.
What's not to like? Now, this podcast goes out every Sunday evening. It premieres at 7 o'clock on YouTube, and people like to comment underneath.
They do.
Chris, would you like to
We
read
have
out the
had
first
some
comment?
comments,
there?
yes, indeed. This is on Pod 344, which was the Christian Anholt interview.
Classic.
This is from Eagle Owl. Good interview as always, Richard.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you to say.
Unfortunately, I missed Christian at the 1999 con. Well, he wasn't there as a guest, he was just there because he wanted to be, which was fairly...
Was he not signing?
I don't think so.
I'm sure I saw him sitting behind a table. Ross, you
Then
want Christian being
scratch what I
was,
just
yeah.
said. Okay, it's 2
No,
against
I'm keeping
1.
that
I
in.
surrender.
I'm keeping it in.
That's
But
fine.
we
Yeah.
were busy filming lots of
We had lots of things to do. We were
Right.
chatting to people,
I
which
see.
hasn't been...
Yeah.
But what a lovely guy he seems.
Yes.
And indeed is.
Yes, and was. And will be.
Perhaps some Anderson audiobook work for him maybe next.
Yeah.
That'd be nice, wouldn't
That would
it?
be great.
Yes, yeah.
It'd be good to keep it in the family, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Very fitting.
And one there for you, Ross. You'd like to read that one out?
Okay, this one is from Mercer C. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. I grew up watching Space 1999. Absolutely loved it, as we all do.
Yeah.
I also loved Relic Hunter, which Christian was great in, and I had no idea that his dad was in Space 1999.
What?
Wow.
Christian, you should think of doing a remake with you as the star. I spent hours building the moon base and ships out of Lego when I was 11 or 12.
Sweet.
Lots of imagination. Space 2099. It could work.
It could work.
yes.
If only it were up to Christian. I love it when people say that to actors. Why don't you make...
Yeah,
you should
just
be
do
in
it.
Just do it.
Yeah. It's fine, yeah.
That'll be fun. Roger Smith says, hello to all. My UFO arrived today, and I must say
yes.
it's beautiful and is a fantastic addition to my UFO collection. Is there any chance of what's known as Ed Straker's car, or even Paul Foster's car? Dinky did a nice version of Straker's car, so here's hoping. Corgi Thunderbirds are all pre-ordered. I'm just waiting to order Thunderbird 5. Oh, my poor wallet.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff coming up. That would be very nice to get a model of Ed Straker's car.
Yes.
There's so many models that could be done. I mean, I was thinking the other day how nice it would be to have a Fireball XL5 Jetmobile or an International Rescue.
Yes.
I've forgotten what their equivalent was.
Right.
Hoverbike?
Hoverbike, that's the
Yes.
chap. Ross is here to save us. He's performing his task admirably.
Excellent. Yeah, well, of course, as Jamie always says, well, if you want these things, you've got to email in. Let
Yes.
him know. And I think he said last time about something, if he gets 1,000 emails, he'll consider it.
Yeah.
Crossroads to Crime
Crossroads to
Blu-ray.
Crime, Blu-ray soundtrack, live action remake.
Anyway, talking to Jamie Anderson, I hear he's in sunnier climes.
Yeah, I heard. What was it? Margate?
Margate? Was it Margate? Morecambe?
Merseyside,
No,
yeah.
Miami.
That's the chap.
Well, let's see if he's got any newsy news.
Greetings, Podsterons. This is Jamie from a top secret location, unless, of course, Richard, Ross, and Chris have given away the top secret location, and it's no longer top secret. But here I am with some Gerry Anderson news for you. You've been asking for more t-shirts, and, well, of course, the team has delivered, this time with a UFO t-shirt featuring UFO and a UFO. It's available right now, and there's plenty more to come right there. This Friday, is Valentine's Day. And what could be more symbolic of love than a new Eagle collectible? You've been asking for the next Eagle in our collectible series, and the Palette Eagle is coming very shortly with those lovely little radiation proof canisters. It's a great model, and you'll see it available for pre-order on Valentine's Day. That's the 14th of February. You may also have seen some new Scalextric models are on the way. Those will be available for pre-order soon, including the SPV, which will be a rather cool thing to race around a Scalextric track and crash, of course. And if you've enjoyed your Anderson Collection Retro Action Figures Collection 1, well, I'm very happy to say that Master Replicas, who took over the license from Big Chief Studios, are doing Collection 2. And Collection 2 will be available to pre-order very soon. In fact, probably in the next few days, I would say. More characters from Captain Scarlet and Thunderbirds, and a few others thrown in there too. So stand by for more retro figure action. And that is the end of this week's Gerry Anderson News.
Well, now, you see, we didn't get to see that because he's going to send it to me and I'll drop it in later, but I'm hoping he's announced that tickets are now available for Space Precinct on Ice.
Well, there is that rink just a little way down the road, so yeah, there's no reason why not.
I've got a feeling it would just be me, wouldn't it?
And David Quarter came in for an interview. I think we could persuade him to put on the skates.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I hope we did mention, there was the Scalextric models which have been announced.
Yes.
And underneath a previous podcast, do you remember David Mather from Corgi?
Yes, very well.
He came in to see us. Beneath that particular video, someone mentioned, you should get in the Scalextric counterpart, the brand manager, Simon Owen. He'd be interesting. Well, he's coming to join us in April.
Oh, right.
So that's nice. So hopefully he'll bring something nice for us as well.
So we've got a full roster of guests. It just keeps rolling on.
Oh, yes. Plenty more to come, including your interview with Bob Ayres.
My interview with Bob Ayres?
Tell us about Bob Ayres.
Bob Ayres served a 15-year stretch as a teacher before switching careers to... Well, he's written this Stingray novel, Project Orca.
It makes a change for you to pick up someone else's book from the table, I have to say.
What, in addition to my one here? This one
here.
They work so well together, don't they? But this is the one that Bob wrote.
Yeah.
I had to give him some advice and encouragement, from time to time. But I've been reading this recently.
Yes.
It's a phenomenally good story. Beautifully captures all the characters, the feel and the tone and the action of the series. So we're going to chat to him about this and Thunderbirds and his work on Big Finish Doctor Who. And are we going to do that right now?
Let's see how you got on.
Okay, good luck me. So, Bob Ayres, author of the Stingray novel Project Orca. Welcome to the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Lovely to have you here. Now, how did you come to be involved with this? How did you come to be asked to write this?
The beautiful Project Orca cover by Marcus Stamps.
Marcus Stamp, yeah.
Very good. So I did some work for Big Finish. I wrote a couple of Big Finish dramas, First Doctor and a Second Doctor, with Nick Briggs, who was directing. And he obviously, hopefully liked my writing, because a few months later he got back in touch and said, what do you know about Gerry Anderson stuff? So I said, a lot, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So he said, leave it with me, I'll come back to you. And I thought, what's that all about?
Yeah, sounds promising.
And a couple of weeks later, he got back again and said, put me in touch with Andrew Clements, AC, who was producing Deadly Uprising.
Yep.
And I had a chat with him, and he told me all about the saga, the Deadly Uprising saga. He told me what the different parts were, and basically invited me to pitch for one of the novellas. So I chose the segment. It was all up for grabs. I think it was fairly early in the process, so it was fairly up for grabs at the time. And so I chose the Project Orca section because I wanted to do an X20 story.
Yes.
So there are 150 word kind of summaries of each of the sections that had already been worked out. So I said, well, I'd like to do that one. So he said, well, think about it and come back to me. So I pitched an idea to him, and it was all over Zoom. And I don't know if you know AC's setup. He's got the Tracy brothers on the wall behind him and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite intimidating. So I've got Andrew looking at me, AC looking at me down the lens.
5 judges.
And Tracy boys and Lady Penelope on the end as well, all looking at me, judging me while I'm giving my pitch. And So I was going, and this happens, and then this happens, and then there's an explosion, there's another explosion, and then this happens. And AC is completely deadpan all the way through. And I'm thinking, this is going horribly badly. And I got to the end, and I kind of went, and that's my idea? And he kind of broke into this kind of wide grin and went, "That's fantastic, Bob. That's really great." And he had some questions, and we talked through some stuff. But I've never worked for anyone quite so enthusiastic and kind. He was a really nice man to work for, a very gentleman. Yeah, he was great to work for.
It makes it all so much easier, doesn't it, when you know that you can go to someone and say either it's going really well, if it's going really well, or if it's not going really well, I'm having a few problems here, and it's like, okay, let's talk this through. And
He had some questions, and he sort of, have you thought about doing this? And sort of like, he was very, never did he say, don't like it, do that. It was kind of all very, very collaborative.
Yeah.
It was great, yeah.
Which is exactly what you want, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned being a bit of an Anderson fan. We are now going to put that to the test.
Yikes.
In our little super identification game.
Right.
Where we get you to watch a compilation of little bits from all 18 of the opening titles for Gerry's shows.
Well, I've just been told there's 18.
18, yes.
And I was surprised it's that many, but I suppose it must be. Yeah.
Well, that's not counting pilots and unreleased things. So, yeah. We're going to ask you to identify them, shout them out when you know what they are. No pressure, but I will be keeping score on your little figure here.
Where did you get that picture?
Where did we get that
amazing.
picture?
This is your BAFTA picture.
Oh, is it? Okay, right. Yeah. Oh, the BAFTA.
Yes, that thing. That old thing.
Sorry for mentioning it.
He's using it as a doorstop.
Yeah.
So, whenever you're ready, let's crack on with it.
Well, ready as I'll ever be.
Yep.
Oh, Twizzle?
Yes.
Oh,
This was the other one you might have
That
been
must
about
be
to
Battery
say.
Boy, the Torchy Battery Boy?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, that must be Fall for the Falls.
Yep. We're doing well.
This is so stressful. Supercar?
Yes.
Oh, 5, well, let's all 5.
Yep. We're doing well.
Oh, thank God. Stingray. Yes.
You had to get that one.
Yeah.
And you should get the next one.
It says it on the screen, Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons.
Doing well.
Show 90. Secret Service.
Yes. Fantastic.
UFO.
Yep.
Oh, Protectors.
Yep. Brilliant.
Space 1999.
Fantastic. Yep.
This is an emergency.
Terrorhawks.
Terrorhawks, we're now in the 80s. See how you do here.
Dick Spanner.
Yep.
Space Precinct.
A place of legend, fabled right across the universe.
No idea what that is.
Oh.
New Captain Scarlet.
Fantastic.
Bit of Crispin Merrill there
Crispin
at the end.
Merrill, yes.
Is it Merrill or Morell?
Merrill, I think, yes.
Merrill, yeah.
Yes. Who also composed...
That was... wow. Quite a ride.
It is quite a ride. It's very quick, yes, but you did extraordinarily well. The only one you didn't get was Lavender Castle, which was the penultimate one there.
Ever seen it? Yeah.
No, it
I
went
know the
out at
name.
like 10 to 4 on weekday afternoons
Right.
in the late 90s. So
I would have been
no reason why
out
you
of
would
work
have
at
seen
that
it.
time.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Bob Ayres, you scored an amazing 17 out
Is
of
it?
18.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's fantastic. Yes. Well done. We will be adding you to our rogues gallery of figures round the front
Thank you very
here
much.
in subsequent weeks. So obviously you know all of these shows.
Well, I
to a
would say I
certain
know
degree.
all of them. I'm a big fan of the ones I'm a big fan of, and I'm kind
Yes.
of aware of Gerry Anderson's other work as well. You know, I've watched things like filmed in Supermarionation, so I've taken an interest, to put it that way. Yeah.
So what was your first exposure to all this stuff? Where did it start?
Started with Thunderbirds, probably. I was born in 1969. So the first, by the time I'm remembering stuff, the first show I would have seen broadcast, when it's first broadcast, would have been Space 1999, probably. So everything else would have been repeats of stuff that was shown earlier. So there was a lot of Thunderbirds, a lot of Captain Scarlet. I remember seeing a couple of Joe 90s, I think, bit of UFO, but it was mainly Thunderbirds that was on telly. my earliest memory. So the things, I don't know about you, but my earliest memories are very much kind of a patchwork of kind of images, and you can't always put them in kind of order.
Well, we did ask you to provide us with your earliest memory.
Yes.
And I think we actually have a clip of one of the things that you mentioned, because you did mention two.
Yes.
Which, oddly enough, both come from the same episode, don't they?
Yeah.
Let's, before we explain which one, let's have a look at this.
Okay.
Nothing wrong, is there? No, it's okay. I just lost a spanner, that's all. I'm coming in now.
I've never heard anyone mention this as a sort of scary moment.
Well, it's the emptiness of it. It's that spanner going off over the camera. And then this is the bit. It's the music as well, and the sound effects. The emptiness of it.
Yeah. Off into the void.
Off into the void.
Yeah.
And I found that really frightening. I don't know. Well, I do know why, because it's scary. But it's just the fact that he's going off out into that total blackness,
into nothingness.
Into nothingness.
Yes, that's Elliot the astronaut from Imposters.
Elliot. Yeah.
And your other memory as well. Your other first memory was also from the Imposters.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this, and the stuff that kind of stuck in my memory is either nightmare fuel, like that, or stuff that really appealed to my sense of humour, or I could identify with. You know, I wanted to be like that. There was something inspiring about it. And the other one comes from also from the Imposters, this episode. And it wasn't until years later that it came from. I thought, those two memories came from the same episode. I didn't realise that until I rewatched the episodes many years later. I suppose it makes sense that it would come from the same episode because I must have seen that episode. But it's when there's Agent 47, I think, which is Jeremiah and his Moore. Yeah. Can't do the voice. But there's this hillbilly and his either his mum or his wife, I can never figure out who. And they're in this old broken down old truck, this jalopy of a truck. And they've got to get somewhere quickly. And there's this guy in his sports car zooming along the road, really, really pleased with himself and seeing how fast it could go. And then Jeremiah pulls the supercharger or the lever on his jalopy and shoots past this guy in his sports car. And for some reason that really appeals to my sense of humour as a kid. It still does now, obviously. But it was also the idea that if those two could be international rescue agents, then so could I be.
Yeah,
I could be in my home reporting back to Jeff Tracy on Tracy Island, and that was quite. Yeah, that just really appealed. That's why it stuck in my head.
It's interesting you mentioned the humour there, because that's something that's quite prevalent in the previous Anderson show, which is Stingray.
Yeah.
Are you saying you saw a lot of Thunderbirds and Scarlet as a kid? When did you first see Stingray?
Well, I don't remember Stingray being on in the 70s. I don't think it was repeated at all. I think the first time I saw Stingray was the early 80s, possibly somewhere around there. I don't think I saw it properly. I don't think I sat down to watch Stingray properly until the 90s when it was repeated in the wake of the big Thunderbirds success.
So that's 92.
Back then.
Which is when I first saw it.
But so my first exposure to Stingray was in book form. So it was obviously a fate that I should end up writing a book.
So this is the John Thayden novel.
It was the first John Thayden book. So it was an Armada paperback, which is green.
Yes.
And I saw this at a school fete, jumble sale type thing. And I went to the bookstore because I was quite a booky kid, so I went through leafing through all the books, and saw this paperback, and it had clearly Gerry Anderson, Thunderbird style puppets on the front. I thought, what's that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that being in Thunderbirds. So I picked it up and read the back and noticed the name Gerry Anderson. So I thought, well, it must have something to do with Thunderbirds. So I paid my 10p or whatever it was for the book and took it home. And that was my first exposure to Stingray. Brilliant. So it wasn't until many years later that I saw the programme.
So when you're asked to write a Stingray novel, is it like, oh, I know this stuff, or to a certain extent, did you have to go back and kind of
I did know
re-immerse
stuff
yourself?
because I'd seen it in the 90s. I'd taken an interest then, but hadn't watched it really since then. So I did go back and I did a complete rewatch of Stingray before writing Project Orca. Yeah.
Yeah, it does help to immerse yourself in the world again.
The soundtrack and all of that, trying to immerse myself a bit. Yeah.
Is there, to a certain extent, almost a sort of a sense of responsibility that comes with taking these characters that have essentially lain dormant for 60 years, aside from repeats, and putting new words into their mouths and new situations for them to be part of?
You're making me feel anxious just saying that. Well, yes.
Because I felt it myself as well doing that one.
It was... It wasn't until I started writing it, actually, until I suddenly thought, people are going to read this.
Yes.
What if I mess it up, and what if people hate me? It was as you say, a responsibility. And I really wanted to get it right. But again, AC was very, very, very helpful. I suggested taking Lieutenant Fisher in one direction at one point, and we won't mention what it was, but I said maybe we could do this, and he said no, I don't think so. So it was kind of very clear that Lieutenant Fisher wouldn't do that, but that was the only time he sort of pulled me in. The rest of the time, he was very pleased with that I got the characters right, which was nice. Yeah,
which is absolutely crucial with these is finding the voices, and then is the way I feel about my one is if I've got the characters right. It doesn't matter if the story I've written is a load of absolute bobbins.
Which
it's just getting those voices and those sounds spot on. If someone had asked you write a novel on any Anderson series, is Stingray one that you would have gone to immediately, or?
I probably would have immediately gone to Thunderbirds because that's as my earliest memory of Gerry Anderson, and probably the one I've watched the most.
Yes.
So I probably wouldn't have written a Parker-centric Thunderbirds, but Stingray would have been... Oh, I'm going to upset Stingray fans now. Stingray probably would have been third on my list. I think Captain Scarlet may have been second. Yeah. Because again, it's in the early memories watching Captain Scarlet as a kid. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Parker there. I think it's now time to look at a bit of Parker in action. He's the person that you've pulled up as your favourite character.
Yeah, sorry to be obvious, but he is.
It's fine. Great. He is the man. So let's have a look at this.
Will I be off then, Belady?
Very well, Parker. Oh, just one moment. What have you in that case?
Aye? You mean, this one, Belady?
Yes, that one.
Oh, well, I thought I'd take it, just in case. What? The casino? So we had to put all that money. I wonder how they got it.
Parker?
Yes, milady.
Just brilliant. It's, I think, again, controversial statement, but I think he's possibly the best drawn Anderson character.
Yes.
Because, it's everything. It's partly the puppet's face.
Yeah, it's an amazing sculpt,
The voice, David Graham's voice.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Just the characterisation of that. The backstory he's got, is an obviously
the contrast with Penelope as well.
Yes,
He's
and
a very relatable character.
Yes. And he's funny, and he drinks too much, and he gambles, and he cracks safes, all that kind of stuff.
And yet, when the chips are down, he's going to come through for the team, and you can always rely on him. So
there's that bit in, I think it's Perils of Penelope, where Penelope is just about to take a drink.
Oh yes,
and
the Pernod, yes,
a Pernod in Paris, and it kind of explodes out of her hand, and there's Parker, very cool in his in the pink Rolls Royce in Fab 1, shot it out of a hand with the machine gun that's appeared out the radiator grill.
It says something like, "Oh, big pardon, me."
Big pardon, yes, yeah, very polite about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite right too.
But because it was poison, obviously, and he was saving a life. But just so completely cool. Yeah.
So let's go back a ways. You've seen Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet as a kid, but at what point did you think, "Oh, I'd like to pursue writing as a professional career, essentially"?
Being a writer is something I've always dreamed about, I think. Come from a very booky family. I'm the youngest of 4 kids, so there was all my elder siblings' books sort of just waiting for me as I grew up. So I sort of devoured all those. And as well as Gerry Anderson, I was also a big Doctor Who fan, and sort of got into the Target novelisations by Terence Dicks, Malcolm Hulke, and so on. So I wanted to tell those kind of stories, and so as a kid I have exercise books full of pencil written stories that I wrote as a kid, usually as me in the role of the Doctor and Daleks on the street where I lived and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of was a dream that I would be a writer. And it's just something I've always done in my spare time. I became a teacher eventually, and so I had the long summer holiday, so I would do some writing in the summer holiday. And then I eventually got... My first professional gig was writing narration scripts for BBC audiobooks.
All right.
They released some of the soundtracks of past shows, Doctor Who shows, as audio soundtracks, but they needed a narration, obviously, to tell you what's happening in the action.
These are the
bits
ones
and so on.
narrated by like Peter Purves and Fraser Hines and so on.
That's right. So I wrote a few of those, about 6 or 7, I think, in the end, the narration scripts, which are really technical work because you're having to fit sometimes quite a lot of description into a very short space of time. Yes, literally a few seconds, because people need to know who's in the scene, who's the first person going to speak, who's holding the gun, all that kind of stuff. So they were fun, but very, very technical kind of stuff to do. And then I'd been a teacher for about 15 years, and I was a head of department. And the next step up was to become a head of year. And I didn't really want to be a head of year because all you're dealing with is the naughty kids. So I didn't have to do that. So I thought, what do I do next? So I started looking at other jobs to do. And this job came up. The job title was education writer. And I'd been in education and I was a writer. So I thought,
makes sense.
That's my job. And I'm terrible at interviews, job interviews. And it's the first time I've come out of a job interview and thought, oh, I think I might have got that. And I did. And that was working for a media company to make short educational films. So I was sort of writing scripts for those and writing articles and things to go on the website and so on to supplement them for our audience of teachers.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's crack open our Space 1999 lunchbox here with some questions from our listeners. I think there's about a dozen in there. So you're going to grab a handful and see how you get on with those.
Right.
We'll do some now and some next week.
Okie dokie. Right, I'll just...
That'll do it. Thanks.
Take it. I've only got 2. I'll dip back in a second. I will need the glasses.
Oh, yes.
Right. Okay, this is from John Stock. Hello, John. Hi, Bob. Thanks for joining the podcast. My pleasure. How did you become involved with Big Finish and the Stingray novel? Well, I got involved in the Stingray novel because I done work for Big Finish through Nick Briggs, who suggested me to AC. How did I get involved with Big Finish? I basically pestered Nick Briggs quite a lot. I mean, for years. So I sent him story ideas, and he's not going to like me saying this because he doesn't want to be inundated with scripts. But I sent him a spec script. I did, to be fair, ask him if I could first, and he said yes, I could. So I sent him a spec script, and he liked it. And then he suggested that we met, and then the pandemic hit, so we never met at all. But it kind of helped because it was much easier to meet because then everyone was doing everything on Zoom. So I eventually had a long chat with Nick on Zoom, and we talked over some story ideas, and that eventually led to me being commissioned. So it was persistence that got me involved in Big Finish. Yeah. Next one. This is from Simon Frisbee. Great name, Simon. Hi, Bob. You do a lot of work in education videos for schools covering everything from religion and social issues. I do. How rewarding is that to you? And do you have a different frame of mind or way of writing when writing fiction than when you do when writing education films? Wow. Good question. Thank you, Simon. Okay, first of all, how rewarding is doing the short films. So, as I said before, I got involved in this media company making these short films. It's a company called CTVC, and as a purely charitable thing, they had this website called TrueTube, which made these very, very short films, very, very low budget short films for schools. So that's what I got involved with. And it is rewarding because I was a teacher. I could bring those skills to filmmaking and take a topic and really try and boil it down to, okay, what do kids need to know about this, and how can we put it in an interesting way? And, you know, the rule was it had to be a 10-minute maximum film. Sometimes went over that, but so it was kind of very technical, like the narration scripts were. It's a very technical kind of writing, trying to boil it down to what actually do we need to know. And we might have all kinds of ideas, and we have to say, well, no, that one's going to be far too expensive, or no, that's far too complicated, and so there's always kind of lots of ideas about how to do something. So boiling it down to kind of the essence and writing, again, very technical scripts, quite wordy scripts usually, because you need to get a lot of information into a short space of time. So it's very rewarding. And also when you get feedback from kids and you get feedback from teachers, especially saying, this is a lifesaver because we didn't know how to teach this in the classroom, but this has really helped us. That's fantastic. Do I have a different frame of mind or way of writing when writing fiction than I do when writing education films? So when writing fiction, it's much more free in a way because you can just basically go on it. There isn't the kind of the pressure of I've got to do this in a really short space of time. There's much more kind of freedom to let my imagination roam and kind of exercises a different part of my brain possibly. So it's less about this is the facts you need to know or this is what you need to know, and it's more about having fun and letting your imagination go. Yeah. Good question. Thank you, Simon.
Brilliant. Let's have one more, and then we'll leave the rest for next week.
Okay. This is from Rich Goodborn, I think. Hello, Rich. Hi, Bob. If you were to write a sequel to Project Orca, which direction would you take with the Stingray universe? That is a really difficult question to answer.
Because it depends whether it would be a standalone thing or if it's some kind of
part of
a continuation like this with multiple parts.
Yeah. I would like to do... I always thought with Stingray that Marina was a bit wasted in and her abilities.
Yes.
You know,
particularly by the end of the show, she's hardly in it.
She's hardly in it, and she doesn't... We never really see her using her underwater swimming abilities, and we do on a few occasions. But I thought I would like to write a story that's kind of marina-centric, I think, and really see her helping the wasps with her not only being able to swim underwater and breathe underwater, but also her kind of communication with the other undersea races. Yeah.
That's something I found when writing mine. It, yes, is a challenge in the sense you have a character who doesn't speak. But telling a story, a written story, it's amazingly freeing because you can just go inside her head and she's thinking this and she's thinking that. I've found that just endlessly fascinating. I've got long pages in there of just her sort of
I think
inner
we're both
monologue.
quite secretly in love with Marina, having read your book as well. Because there's the
probably
yes, because there's this. We both. I mean, I wrote mine before I read your outline, but I didn't read your full novel until I'd finished mine. But we both put in a similar scene with Marina and Sarah,
Yes.
Coral. And we both ended the scene with a big hug. And we kind of both did that
Yeah. Independently of each other. Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I hope nobody minds that we've got a similar scene. But it's nice that Marina's kind of, we see her sort of making friendships in the way that Marina makes friendships and being a loving person. Yeah.
And the fact as well that you're writing a character who traditionally has always been on strings. Now she's off the strings.
Yeah.
We can have her running and jumping and doing whatever.
Yes.
It's very freeing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's where we'll leave it for this week. But would you like to come back next week and we'll chat a bit more about Stingray and
I'd love
Captain
to.
Scarlet?
It's been fun. Thank you. I'd love to come back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Chris.
Well, thank you. Well done, Bob.
What a lovely chap he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such an illustrious and eclectic career.
Yes, he's done a great many things.
Yeah.
And he's going to continue to do a great many things.
Right.
And I'm sure we'll be talking more about those wonderful things next week.
He's coming back next week.
He's coming back next
Are
week.
you coming back next week? Because
Well, I might go to Miami. You know.
people seem to be leaving.
I did offer, but he said someone needs to go to Slough. You know.
Yeah. Talking of people coming to Slough.
Yes.
Well, our podsterons have been sending emails to Slough.
To Slough.
Kind of.
Yeah, I know.
Via podcast@gerryanderson.com. Shall we see what they have to say for themselves?
I think we probably should. Yeah.
This is the voice of the Podsterons.
Yes, it's the part of the show where the podsterons are given literal voice to air their grievances, thoughts, comments. Not so much their grievances. Well, sometimes.
Come on.
Sometimes they get a bit annoyed.
And that's why we call it
the voice.
Is that why? Is that why it's that
That's it.
screenshot from
Yes.
Captain Scarlet of the guy?
You've
Yes.
never noticed that before?
Well, I did think
You're
it's
normally
like,
asleep by this point, aren't you?
I am actually. Yes. It's
Would you like to read out the first email?
absolutely. This is Jeff from Oregon, USA.
Oh, nice. International listener and viewer. Brilliant.
Hello, gents.
Hello,
So
gents.
that pertains
Hi.
to me as well.
Of course.
It's normally Jamie, Richard, and Chris.
Yeah,
That's very
all
nice.
encompassing. Yeah.
You asked on the latest podcast what we'd like to see in 2025 in terms of product. For me, it's quite simple. I want to see the continuation of the Gerry Anderson collection action figures from Master Replicas.
yes.
Nice.
Okay.
I just recently received the collection box set and I love them. But it would be a shame if we didn't get the rest of the core Thunderbirds team. Moonbase Alpha crew and Spectrum agents as well.
Yeah.
I really hope this will happen. Carry on, SIG and all of that. Jeff from Oregon, USA.
Brilliant. Tell us about the Gerry Anderson collection action figures from Master Replicas, Chris.
Well, Master Replicas, who were they previously? This was...
Oh
was it
God.
Big- it was
Come on,
Big
Ross.
Chief.
Keep up.
Was
It
Big
might have
Chief?
been, yes, was it Big Chief
Produced
of
these
now?
little figures. There was
Yeah.
a range of, is it 6? And they had projected for 3 waves.
We're looking to you like you're Jamie, you see.
Well, you know,
tell
he's
us?
got to do something. It's between 6 or 8 characters, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And there were 3 waves. It was a mix of, let's see if I've got this right. It was Troy Tempest, Scott Tracy, Captain Scarlet, Joe 90, Commander Straker, and Commander Koenig. That was the first wave, so wave
Nice,
6.
yes.
And then when Big Chief fell through, that sort of fell into limbo, and then Master Replicas picked them up. And we currently have them in the shop. I believe at the time of recording this, all 6 are still available.
Okay.
And there was recently a toy show in London where they were showing off the prototypes of the second wave.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to see that continue. I
Could
don't
happen.
have any, but I've always fancied the idea of having a little collection of Spectrum agents all on my desk.
Nice.
Yeah,
Great.
We'll have to see, but fingers crossed.
Yeah. Next email for you there, Chris.
I've got one, yes. Hello, Jamie, Richard, and Chris. Didn't forget you this time, Chris. No, but you did forget. But
yeah.
we'll let you off.
They
Yeah.
weren't.
He's an honorary Jamie for
Yeah.
the day. A bit more hair, though.
What a horrible thought. Yes.
Just wanted to congratulate you all and the Carrot Productions team on the fantastic Stand By for Action 2 concert. We have a copy on the table
Yes.
here. I enjoyed the Blu-ray, that's what that is, this weekend, and it was great to feel part of the event even way over in Sydney.
Right,
A couple of highlights for me were the Protectors theme.
Love it.
Yes,
Nice.
Yes.
gorgeous.
We're all singing it
and
now.
the lush sounding, and this I think was the piece that opened the concert, the Dick Spanner theme.
Oh, yeah.
I would highly recommend this release to any fan. It was fantastic to hear some niche themes alongside the classics.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, no letter of mine would be complete without a couple of requests.
Uh-oh. What
We've
we've
already told you we can't always fulfill requests. As you know, I find Thunderbirds 6 to be very underrated and would love to hear the Hackenbacker Orchestra perform the Skyship 1 theme and Operation Escort.
Right.
Yes, I'm with you there.
We should really be making notes of all these
That would
things,
be
shouldn't we?
great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Who knows? Stand by for Action 3.
Yes.
Not this year.
Yeah.
Maybe. I could see George having a lot of fun with that one.
George?
George the conductor.
I see.
Yes.
George Morton.
Is it on
George
first name
Morton.
terms?
Oh, yes. Oh, Georgie.
Right.
Oh, Georgie with the baton.
Great.
Would also love to throw my support behind a Blu-ray release of Crossroads to Crime.
I mean,
God.
this is gathering
this
momentum.
Is a movement
It's
now,
becoming
I think,
inevitable.
yes.
It really is.
I find it a lot of fun, and it would be great to see Slough in even more detail.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Maybe we should look into doing like a walking tour of Crossroads to Crime locations.
I would
that would be
so be up for that.
We know that the cafe is still there.
We've got quite a long lunch today.
Yeah,
We've got cameras.
We've got cameras. We can hang on the side of a
Watch this
blue
space.
sky. And finally, as an avid 4K disc collector, is this format something we could see Gerry's shows on one day? I, for one, would happily repurchase all his output again. Keep up the great work.
Everything.
Keep up the great work. Thanks. James Crethar? Is it Crethar? Crethar?
Crethar?
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Well, 4K.
Yes.
It's all the rage, isn't it?
It is all the rage.
But what's stopping that happening then?
Cost.
Money.
Yeah.
It has been discussed. I'm going out on a limb here with Jamie not being here. I'm going to say it has been discussed.
Careful.
We are aware that it is very expensive.
Yeah.
By we, I say Jamie. I don't know why I'm saying we.
Yes,
'cause
you're not.
I'm not involved.
Coffee cup really for it, are you?
But discussions are nevertheless have not stopped.
Because, of course, it's a process that's only going to become cheaper, isn't it? It might be expensive
Well,
now,
yeah,
but
in
do you
theory.
think 5 years' time,
That's true.
it might be...
It did wonders for things like the Space Precinct.
Yes.
I think how good that looked
Yes.
afterwards. I'm sure.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For AI. But in terms of
actual
4K for the classic
yeah,
shows, that's
yeah.
a full rescan of the original negatives and such.
And
so,
as James said, though, how many fans out there would be happy to buy everything again?
Well, yes, obviously James would.
There's only one way to find out.
True.
So get your Torchy 4K Blu-ray release now.
Dear Jamie, Richard, Chris, and all at AE.
Yay!
That's very inclusive.
Thank you.
Last Saturday, the Potters Arms, now this is the group on our Facebook group who meet every Saturday to talk about Anderson things and watch Anderson shows. They had their first episode review of 2025, which happened to be the Space Precinct Classic Takeover. We were all suitably impressed by the fact that Richard managed to successfully skip rope while wearing the orange prosthetic head. I know, imagine.
That is impressive.
Isn't it? Which cannot have been easy given the size of the head and the limited vision. That's with the mask on. I don't think they're talking about me generally.
Oh, just without your glasses.
That's right. Limited vision. What we want to know is 30 years later, is Richard James still able to skip rope? Obviously without the prosthetic head, but can he successfully manage 10 skips on the podcast? Consider the gauntlet thrown down. Best wishes, Robert M. Cassidy.
Well, there is a gym downstairs.
I have brought a skipping rope with me today.
You haven't.
So I think maybe in our break we'll head out into the corridor and see if I can get 10 skips under my belt.
Skips?
That is going to be the highlight of
Isn't it?
today.
Isn't it?
Okay.
Keep watching towards the end of the podcast and I'll slip it in the very end.
That was on our Patreon or something, only for special supporters.
It's an idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
All for now, but do keep your emails coming into podcast@gerryanderson.com. Also, we love to receive your physical letters.
We do, yeah.
We had lots of stuff over Christmas, which was
Yes.
lovely, of course.
Oh, yes.
But if you can be bothered to put pen to paper and send it into the Moxie Hotel in Slough,
If you truly care about us.
SL1 something.
We've got the box of them.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sure you can look it up. Failing that, let us know your thoughts and comments about anything Gerry Anderson related. We want to see pictures of your merch. We want to see pictures of your cosplay.
Yes.
We can put them up on the screen and talk about them. Be fun.
I mean, one
Sounds
thing
good.
that we would like to see pictures of, particularly at this time, is Volume 2 of the Stingray comic anthology
Yes.
is now out, and we would love to see your pictures of that, preferably maybe alongside Volume 1 on your bookshelf, anything to sort of say, hurrah, this is a jolly good book.
Lovely.
Put together by some jolly good people.
Lovely. All for now, but a little earlier on, your lovely
yes.
Bob Ayres pressed the lovely big red button for the
I can't get
randomiser.
enough of touching this thing.
They really can't.
Yeah.
Have you got an antiseptic wipe or not? Yeah.
Probably should have done, shouldn't I? Yeah.
Let's see how he did.
Ready, guys? I'm really hoping this is Torchy the Battery Boy, just for Chris. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Through the black and white puppets.
Yes.
Into the colour. No.
Yeah.
Oh, we're whizzing through these.
I think all Super Marination's gone. Ah!
Okay.
Good choice.
Bit
You love a bit of UFO?
Love a bit of UFO, yeah.
Ross, in 10 seconds or less, explain UFO Go.
Aliens are attacking Earth looking for organs. The Earth is defended by shadow.
Oh, you got 4 seconds to go if you want to use them.
Ed Straker, cool as hell.
Ed Straker, that's fine, yeah. Cool as hell. See, this is where with Jamie gone, I feel you've moved up to number 1. I'm now number 2.
I'm not putting this in. I'm cutting this.
No.
God, that's dangerous talk.
Well, you never know.
Ross?
Stranger things have happened.
Oh, don't need them. 2020 vision, mate.
Oh.
Grr.
I'm ready for anything when that sting comes on. It's just whatever's coming next.
I bet you're not ready for someone taking a contact lens out of someone's eye, though.
It's a bit freaky.
No, it's a bit, yeah.
That's a hell of an image to open a show with, isn't it?
I remember reading somewhere that Gerry brought a load of marketing types in to watch the first episode, and when they saw that shot, one of them just got up and left.
Yes.
It was like, there's nothing here with marketing. I don't know why that particular image was so.
He made it 1 second in.
Yeah, it was like, I'm done.
Was there ever a Martian doll with removable eye?
I don't know, it should have been, yeah.
Yeah, it should have been. I would have bought it for sure.
Which is ironic, because considering if that story is true, he then missed all these vehicles being thrown at the screen. Look, make a toy of this, make a toy of that, action figures here.
Yeah. We should just mention the funkiest theme tune ever.
Of course.
From Barry Gray.
Yes.
It's great. This opening sequence is so good, but it's... Do you think it's at odds with the theme of the show?
Ooh.
Sometimes?
I think it might be, yeah, because I think the end credits, although it's far less catchy, that theme is much more in tone with keeping with the tone of the series, yeah.
I also think that's a good observation about Space 1999 as well. It has a very kind of dynamic opening title sequence.
Yes.
And then tends to the ponderous, shall we say.
Yes. At least with that one, you've got the kind of, it's half jazzy and half grand operatic, whereas this is just like, funky,
get up and dance.
Yes.
Miniskirt girls on the moon,
right.
It's going to be cool, and then it's...
now, spot the Gerry Anderson Podcast guests. Are there any in this episode, do we think?
I don't think any of the regular actors make that. I mean, the one nearest the door kind of looks like Tom Adams.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't know who any of those faces are, though.
If there's nothing else, sir, I'll be going home.
No, that's all right, Miss Elan. I'm about to leave myself.
I'll make my own coffee, thanks.
Yes.
I want the display that's behind him in my house.
Oh, you like
That's
that?
Great. Yeah.
Fun, swirling colours?
Yeah.
Keep me awake, I think.
Straker.
Possible sighting, Commander.
And we're off.
Oh, here we go.
Straight in.
Yeah.
3. And there's that shot that I hate from a different episode where 3 of them go through and in the middle of the screen they drop a satellite or something. And they reuse that shot all through the series.
Yeah.
It'll probably be on again in a minute.
Red alert. Red alert.
And if there's ever a Gerry Anderson theme park, I want those slides.
Great shout.
Risk of barking your shins on the...
I think it would be worth it, though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, to be that cool.
Confirm UFO sightings. Going for intercept.
Now, this is a question we've often asked of our
I was waiting for the
podcast
funky
guests.
music to kick in there.
But where would you like to work in the UFO universe?
Ooh.
What would you rather wear? I suppose is another way of putting it.
Well, I've always thought I could pull off a silver catsuit quite well. I don't know. Maybe skydiver?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's the shot again. There's the probe in the middle of the screen.
I see.
Can't do anything about it.
No.
Yeah, I think I would want to be as far away from Straker as possible because I don't want him shouting
in
at
the
me.
string vest. No
Maybe
less.
not the string vest. No, I'll have the captain jacket on, I think.
Smart.
There it is
They
again.
love that shot.
Yeah, can't get enough of it.
Nowadays, I suppose it would be a simple matter of just painting it out, wouldn't it?
140273. Yes, we have that. Roger. We confirm orbital reference.
I suppose they may have got to the edit and then realised we need some different shots of UFOs. We don't have them.
Yeah.
Too late.
They didn't shoot any more for quite a long time after.
Sol 0 decimal.
I love Sid's voice, though.
Yeah.
It's great.
Mel Oxley. I love the fact that you've got this terrible situation of aliens are coming to Earth, they're going to rip people's organs, but we're delivering the news very calmly.
That's right.
No
reminds
need
me
to
of,
get excited.
Yeah, it sounds a little like Peter Tuddenham, doesn't it, as Zen from Blake 7.
Confirmed.
Anything?
No, nothing yet, sir.
Oh
my gosh, how many times have we seen that shot? 5 or 6 now?
Just to remind you.
Oh my god!
We're caught in a time.
You need to put a counter on the screen, Richard.
Right, now we're
there
going to
we
start
go.
picking them off. Okay, 1 gone, 2 gone. The characters we recognise have hit UFOs. We don't know who's flying this one, so therefore he misses.
I
So just like me today.
Quite.
No,
third
you're a
wheel.
surefire hit. Well, one got through.
Yes, one got away.
Destruct negative. UFO.
That's a polite way of saying you missed.
Yes. You scored 0.
Blanket detonation by the interceptors. But not good enough. Well, the one that got through is almost certainly damaged. Sky One should get it. Where's that trajectory termination?
Just coming through, sir.
I kind of like all this stuff with like, where's it going to land? Or we've got to get the numbers and the reports. And it fills up a lot of screen time. And in later episodes, they kind of got rid of it a bit. But I like it. It feels more real.
I actually prefer this UFO to those later episodes.
Yeah?
I know a lot of people like that more, the later stuff.
I like the content of the stories later on, but I kind of miss this sort of
feels
procedural
more
nature
Anderson
of it.
to me, I think, with the vehicles and the way they're dealing with it all.
So we have this little plane flying through, and here comes this little UFO.
Wow. UFO.
And who is on board the little plane?
Confirm tracking 013. Area Red 412. Have positive.
There's a shot that's in the opening titles.
Oh, yes.
Well, if it's not a military jet, what the blazes is it? It's not a commercial airliner. It's far too high and way off the air lanes.
Well, who is it?
Yes. It's our old friend, Matt Zimmerman.
Yes.
And beside him, even more importantly, is only Paul Bloomin' Foster.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Airspeed 22.
This is the episode that introduces him.
Okay.
Cabin temperature 72. We'll start the test schedule when we get to Area G.
It's quite unusual to have an introduction episode just for a character, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So do you know the story behind that?
Not really.
Okay, I shall tell you. In the first episode, they cast an actor, Franco De Rosa, I think, to play the commander of Moonbase. He either acted up or something wasn't very good. They let him go. They gave all his lines for the first 3 episodes to Gabrielle Drake. Then they had an episode where the Moonbase commander was stuck out on the lunar surface with an alien. So they cast Michael Billington as Foster for that one.
Right.
And then they thought, oh, hang on, we need to explain who this guy is and where he's come from.
Right.
So then they made this. So even though this is the episode that introduces Paul Foster, this is the second one that Michael Billington filmed.
I see.
And that was a pretty fab fact, if I do say so myself.
If we still did such things.
Did such things, yes.
ETA 4 minutes.
And that's, Matt Zimmerman, Alan Tracy.
Now, dubbed, though, isn't he?
Dubbed by another Tracy brother. No. It's Jeremy Wilkin.
Yes.
Who is also providing the voice of the guy that they're talking to in Control, which is a bit odd. But, yes.
Wow.
On the documentary that recently went up on YouTube,
which
From
is on
Earth to
quite
the
a
Moon.
bit.
Yes, that's right. He explains that he was asked to come back and do the dub, but he was unavailable.
I see.
As often happened,
Yeah. So now we're a good 7 or 8 minutes in, and we're still getting opening credits and titles.
Introducing.
Don't
Michael
mind it, though.
Billington.
No,
Hooray.
that's right. So did all the Tracy brothers appear in live-action series after Thunderbirds that you can think of?
David Graham didn't do any live-action
Right.
and stuff except for Crossroads to Crime,
Yes.
which was obviously long before this. And Ray Barrett didn't do any either.
Right.
But yeah, Matt Zimmerman, Shane Rimmer, Jeremy Wilkin, they were all in this. Also, I can't remember who played
Keith
Rachel.
Alexander is
Keith
John
Alexander is
Tracy
John
in Thunderbirds 6, so
yes.
technically...
And there is also
Yeah.
Series 1 Virgil Tracy.
David Holiday.
Yes, well done.
Right.
I'd forgotten the name.
Yeah,
Yes,
good.
he wasn't in a live-action Anderson thing, but he did very little screen work at all.
Yeah.
He'd been in, I think he was a regular on Corrie for a little bit before that, but yeah. But it's nice to see the Andersons rewarding people later on.
Keeping it in the family.
Yeah.
It's a nice cockpit set, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Stand by with the reconnaissance camera. Try to get some close shots.
Have UFO on radar track. Closing in for attack.
Control to XV-104.
Yeah, there's Jeremy again.
Right.
And it's almost the same voice as the co-pilot.
Yeah.
024.
It's quite funny that that's Alan Tracy, but we won't know that because it's the iconic voice is just not there.
To course.
And because of the helmet as well, you don't really get much of a look at the face.
No.
Get on to someone in authority. Dig the chairman out of...
I want to talk to the manager.
I wish to register a complaint.
Anything. Just get it out of there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't want to work in Shadow HQ, because everything is always Ford's fault. Anything that Straker doesn't approve of.
Oh, yes.
Always snapping at the guy.
That aircraft takes its chances.
Ooh.
They shouldn't be up there.
No.
25 seconds.
Even so.
There's another aircraft.
I mean, I guess Shadow is a secret organisation.
Very secret, yes.
So
that's why
they're risking
their logos all over everything.
Well, quite. But they're risking, being seen by this jet, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but if it gets blown out of the sky, who cares?
Positive. UFO destroyed. And the jet?
Now, they made a classic textbook error there of taking their hands off the controls.
Ah.
Yes, I wouldn't have done that
You don't
myself.
do that when you're flying a plane, yes.
Bit dangerous.
I literally thought he was spraying mouth spray into his mouth.
And although you said you like the interior set of this, and I like it too, I'm not a mad fan of the model itself. I think it looks a bit too sort of squashed for an Anderson plane.
Yeah. Remember Matt Zimmerman was talking about his experiences filming this scene being dropped from the studio roof or something like that.
Oh, yeah?
They're being propelled down to the ground somehow.
Wow.
No idea how they achieved this, but...
Also nice that there's no music here.
Yes, that's right. Letting the sound do the work. It's crashed into the clouds.
Yes.
My eyes, what's happened to my eyes?
Oh, it's Elton John.
What's happened to my eyes?
It's all right.
It's a little bit funny. Sometime later.
Right, thank you, Nurse. Temporary blindness, Mr. Foster.
But don't worry, you've got a full fruit bowl.
My name's Fraser. Dr. Fraser.
Thanks for the clarification.
Where am I?
You may have heard of me. I'm on a show
Dr.
called
Fraser.
UFO. Oh no, sorry, giving it away. Although it kind of looks like he's got a dog collar on.
It does, yes, you're right.
The Shadow Priest.
Reverend Dr. Fraser.
Yes, sir. Good. I had some food sent in.
That's right, I have a bowl of fruit.
Yes.
What time is it?
Apparently.
Nearly 2 a.m.
What?
How long have I been here? 6 days. I'll see about that food.
So you've been waiting for 6 days?
What happened to Jim?
For him to wake up in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
He didn't make it.
Oh,
Jim.
Jim.
I'm sorry.
I think that's the word.
I'll
go.
Sorry.
Not Jim.
Oh, he's got itchy glasses.
Yes. Can't believe I was in this a few scenes ago. And there's a familiar face from 60s and 70s television.
Yes.
Robin Bailey.
That's right.
Yes.
Doctors say you're in great shape.
I think this is his only Anderson thing.
Right.
Sit down, Paul.
Great sort of craggy features.
Yes.
Cigar? Oh, thanks. Paul, you're a
I thought this was a children's program.
pilot.
Smoke anyway.
One of the best. And you've been through a traumatic experience.
Traumatic.
Yes.
Yeah. What, has he seen Torchy?
Has he seen, is it Caves of Androzani? It was in a trowel such
Oh,
and
yes.
such. I think there's, on the DVDs, there's some deleted material from this scene with no soundtrack. I think it's where they actually light their cigars because suddenly they're just lit.
I see, yes.
I suggest that we...
Well, it is the future. Perhaps they're
Yes.
self-lighting cigars.
Could be, yes.
A vape.
Yes. Since you didn't light it for me, I'll put it out.
One question. Where's the cine film from the reconnaissance camera?
Cine film, eh?
Paul.
Where's that film?
Paul,
Got my report? You read it?
you wrote that report 3 days after recovering from a 6-day coma.
6 days, 6 weeks. What's the difference?
Oh,
quite a bit, as it happens, yeah.
But explosion. Strange lights.
I love the way he reads this next line.
Unidentified flying object.
Flying object.
Film!
No can do.
Both the plane and the film
were completely destroyed.
are with a military investigation.
Oh.
Very secretive one.
Tear that story of yours to shreds. You will never fly again for me. Or for anybody.
Oh, he's so intense.
Do you understand that?
And of course, Michael Billington was cast in this show as a result of, I think it was Sylvia seeing him in The Prisoner.
Oh, right.
Yeah, in his Change of Mind, where he, number 6 has the lobotomy, and then Michael Billington comes along and says, right, now I'm going to beat you up, number 6.
Right.
That's what sort of brings him back to normal.
You should have warned me.
Well, I just considered that this was what any well-turned-out film executive would wear.
Of course, I did have that blow to the head the other day.
I love it.
I like the chemistry between these two.
Oh, yeah.
I think it kind of one of the things I really like about UFO. Any scene they have together is usually quite good.
Foster?
And Alec just mentioned there General Henderson, which is the first mention of him since the first episode. Last we saw, he was pretty much exploded, and then they kind of said, actually, let's keep him around. And it's another first, because we're about to get the first appearance of probably one of the most popular characters and actors in the entire series. There he is. Mr. Vladik Sheban.
Yes.
I'm going to be sinister for no reason. Oh, it's just wonderful in everything that he ever did.
Yeah.
Lit security. What more could you ask for?
It's one of those, people said love to hear that actor read the phone book, and absolutely could just be dripping with menace.
Yeah.
Where's the cine film from the XV-104?
As I was about to say, fortunately, the camera in question wasn't damaged.
Then did I or didn't I see an unidentified flying object?
You're not sure.
Don't play games.
You know, I believe you saw something.
Well, at least that's a start.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Excellent.
Yes, it keeps Shadow going.
Yeah.
Luke Jackson, let's stop fencing around. Now, that film shows close-ups of an object, right? Now, I'm an experienced test pilot. That thing was extraterrestrial, I'm telling you.
Run the film, Si.
What?
Oh. Now available from the official Gerry Anderson store. Get your UFO model. I believe we do still have some left at the time of recording. So I'm trying to flog the last one. But there's no model.
There's nothing there.
Photoshopped.
Fixed.
I don't understand. There's the other aircraft. What have you done?
Me? Why would you assume I've done something?
What have you done?
He's the most trustworthy.
Yes.
Look at that face.
Look at him. Butter wouldn't melt. Oh. Great advert break. Love it.
The next shot really should be that same one again, just still holding on that face.
What are you trying to pull? You've erased it, fixed it.
Why? Why should I do that?
I ought to knock that smile right back down.
Oh, good move.
Yes, things are not always what they seem to be, Mr. Foster.
True.
Okay.
Since Vladik just got bored and starts improvising.
More games.
Did you see it stop?
Stop?
Look, I throw it up, and it falls back into my hand.
Yes.
But for a split second, just at the top of the trajectory, it stops.
Sort of getting off the subject a bit here, aren't we?
Well.
But it did stop.
If you say so.
No, Foster, it didn't.
What?
It's moving forward at 5 100 knots. Like everything else in this plane.
Fair enough.
So
I see what you did there.
appearance has been deceiving.
Yeah.
All the aircraft is moving with the rotation of the Earth.
This is reminding me of what Brian Blessed was saying at the start of the Into Infinity documentary.
We're all space
We're
travelers.
all space travelers. We're all moving.
Yes, true enough.
Should have got Brian in to do the interrogation.
Yes.
Look at the lighter.
Now, tell me all about it. What did you see from that cockpit?
An extraterrestrial spacecraft.
A light source?
Yes.
A trick of light?
No.
A reflection from the instrument panel?
No.
Refracted from the glass of your visor and the windscreen?
No!
There are 100 other explanations.
Only one, and you know it.
Well, I have a report to...
This is quite a nice little taut scene, isn't it?
Could give me a few facts.
And there's levels of menace.
Yeah.
And
It's like Shadow are the heroes of the show, but it's quite interesting to see them from this perspective.
Yeah, being intimidating.
Yeah.
It's flipped around for this episode. I think it's what makes it such a good one.
Well, I almost think this would be a better first episode than the first episode.
Yes.
Obviously, you have the bit at the beginning with Shadow, but you could rework that to make it you are discovering this world through Foster's eyes.
Yes.
And you could still put the first episode after this. I just think this almost feels like a sort of second pilot in a sense.
It's kind of like Love and Monsters, Doctor Who. You know how you're kind of discovering Doctor Who through the eyes of.
That's right.
I think
an ordinary person.
It's a concept they're almost going for here.
Yeah.
Like you say, Chris. I think it would have been really interesting.
I need to do some Action Man stuff. Got to get it out of me. Here we go. Oh.
Yes, can I help you?
I came to borrow a book.
Don't normally enter rooms this way.
Well, I do.
I thought he was just going to walk out.
Sorry, wrong room.
Looks like Jean Marsh to me.
Jean Marsh, yes, indeed.
Ooh, snazzy.
Why did you murder my brother?
I killed so many people.
Yes. Remind me. Have to narrow it down a bit, I think.
And the important job of...
What, Alec?
Standing up.
Standing up. She's just sitting back down again. It's literally just... Welcome, men.
Yeah.
You can be cautiously satisfied? Yes, I agree. 3 UFOs. 2 knocked out by the moon base interceptors, and 1 destroyed in the atmosphere by Sky 1.
Hooray for us.
Still areas that need work. Interceptor launches, for example. Too slow. Yes. I want to see those astronauts spaceborne within 2 minutes of a red alert. Go to moon base, Alec. Drill them, flatter them, cajole them, whatever. But get those times down. Nice assignment.
Oh, that was Aisha.
Ah.
Podcast guest, Aisha.
Yes.
Highway. I'm sending you because you're the right man for the job. Okay.
Now, why
Foster? Yes.
hasn't Jamie considered making powder blue dressing gowns available on the Gerry Anderson store? Like that.
Nice narrow jackets.
$1 setup? What do you think?
Oh, no.
What do you
We're leaving
think?
it there. We've got to wait a whole week for that.
Well done to Bob Ayres for choosing such a
Yes.
fantastic episode. Really
Good
interesting.
stuff.
We won't give our marks out of 5 this week because we'll have to wait and see what happens
Yes.
next week in part 2.
But if it continues like that,
Yes.
I think we're on to a good one here.
It's rather intriguing, isn't it? Now, join us again next week. We'll have much more of the same. We've got Randomiser, we've got the second party interview with Bob Ayres, we've got more emails from our Podsterons, we've got Ross Harris.
We've got more Ross,
standing in for Jamie
Yeah,
Anderson.
for another 3 weeks
I
or
know.
something like that.
Crazy, isn't
Yes,
it?
without Jamie.
Yeah, but we will be
can
hearing
get up
from...
to such mischief.
we could.
Yeah, but we won't.
No. And we will be hearing from Jamie as well as he gives us the newsy news.
That's right, yes. We can't get rid of him entirely.
In the meantime, see you next week.
Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
Cassidy. I like a challenge. 10 skips, you say? Without the mask, of course. 30 years later, let's see how I do. How's 4.5? That was an Anderson Entertainment production.